For the last 2 weeks, I've been working on Project Lily, my gothic horror novella about a witch who does questionable things all in the name of love. But since my last update video on this project, my deadline for getting this done has changed, but I'm excited about it. So my initial plan was to finish this new draft by the end of this month and then send it out to beta readers, get their feedback by the end of August or early September, and then work on that feedback and send in a third draft to my dev editor. However, after I got off the phone with my dev editor a few weeks ago, I realized I couldn't actually work with her in October because she was booked. Instead, the only other date she was available was September 1st. I really want to work with this dev editor. She's someone I've been following on socials for a few years now. I've gotten a few other things from her, and I've actually talked with her before. So I knew that she was someone I really wanted to work with. So now my new plan is to not send this out to beta readers at all until after I get feedback from my dev editor. That means I'm going to work on a draft in July, and then I'm going to continue revising that draft in August before I send it off to her. And then based on her feedback, I'll write a third draft, and that's what I'm going to send off to beta readers at the end of the year. However, I do realize that since it's the end of the year, people might not want to read. I'll still ask around, but if no one says yes to reading my story, then I'll have to wait until the beginning of the new year, which is totally fine. I'm not in a big rush to get this feedback. However, the really nice thing about my dev editor is that she'll also do line edits once I do apply her feedback, but she said since I'm working on a novella, I have a bit of a wide timeline before I have to give those edits back to her. There is a bit of a downside for me in all of this, and I'm not sure if this is the appropriate way to work with a dev editor, but it is the way that I planned to as someone who's never worked with one before. So my initial plan was to try and fix any obvious errors before she got it. I really didn't want part of her feedback to be on things that if I just had a little bit more time to read my project myself, I could have figured out those problems. The kind of feedback I really wanted to get was on things that I absolutely could not have figured out on my own, or that my beta reader friends also would not have been able to figure out since they're not professional editors. Although I've never worked with beta readers before, so for all I know, it's going to be an amazing experience once they do finally have my draft. I'm not too bummed out about this because regardless, I know I'm still going to get really good feedback, even if part of it is going to make me feel a little bit silly because they're really obvious things that I could have figured out myself. So I realized with my new deadline, I wanted to reorganize my priorities for July and August. For the rest of this week, I want to finish Act 1 and work on Act 2. Next week, I want to finish Act 2, and then the last week of the month, I want to finish Act 3. My goal is to end the month with about 20,000 words, and then I want to add on 10,000 words in August. An issue that I always have is not having enough description or dialogue or action type scenes. A lot of my first two drafts are very narration heavy, which can be a bit boring, and so I'm gonna just continue on that path for July and then try to change it up a little bit in August by adding more things to it that hopefully make the story more interesting. Then when I get my feedback from my editor, my goal is, with all the changes I have to do, get to around 35 to 40,000 words. My max would be 40,000, and I'm really aiming for a good 35,000 words about. It would be great if after I got this feedback and I sent it out to beta readers that they were like, oh, we have no notes. It's really amazing. Because I kind of need to put this project aside for a little bit, regardless of if I need to make more edits or not, because I have a secret project that I'm working on that I also hired a dev editor for, and the crazy thing is I have not even started this project. So I have another dev editor booked, completely different person for a completely different genre, April 21st. And I'm a little nervous about it, but I also feel like it's doable. I quoted around 75,000 words for this first manuscript because I want it to be a full-length novel, and I thought 75,000 words would be a good start for that. When I say I haven't started, that's not completely true. I should say I haven't written anything for it yet. I have done a bit of brainstorming, but I have a lot more brainstorming to do. I have a lot of outlining that I need to do for it, and that's kind of how I want to spend the last 2 or so months of this year. I feel like it's not too ambitious to say that I want to write about 75,000 words in 4 months, especially if I take these last 2 months of the year brainstorming, but we shall see. I've already paid, so I need to get it done. As I mentioned already, my current project is gothic horror. What do you think my secret project is? If you've been on some streams with me in the past, then you probably have a good guess, but you should leave a comment down below on what you think the genre of my secret project is. But that was all for my little update on Project Lily, and I will see you all in the next one.